I made my final payment on my credit card. $8,400. Gone. Paid off. I opened Credit Karma the next morning expecting to see my score jump. It dropped. 11 points. I remember just staring at the screen thinking, what is going on? I just did the right thing. I paid off $8,400 in credit card debt. I made the financially responsible decision. Why is my credit score going down? If this has happened to you, or you're afraid it might happen, stay with me, because the answer isn't just don't worry about it. The answer is actually fascinating once you understand how the credit scoring system really works. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why scores drop after payoff, exactly when and by how much your score improves after different types of debt are paid off, 5 concrete rules to protect and grow your score during payoff, and the section most people skip, how to actively dispute errors that may be costing you 20 to 50 points right now for no reason. Let's build this from the ground up. Before we can understand why your score moves the way it does, we need to understand what actually goes into it. And I mean really understand it, not just the surface level version. Your FICO score, which is the score that 90% of lenders actually use when making credit decisions, is calculated from 5 factors. The percentages are important, so I want you to really look at these. Payment history, 35%, the single biggest factor. Every on-time payment you've ever made is recorded here. Every missed payment, every late payment, every collection account. This factor is mostly built over time. There's no shortcut to a long history of on-time payments. The good news about payment history, it's forward-looking. A late payment from 3 years ago hurts less than a late payment from 3 months ago. Recent behavior outweighs old behavior within this category. Credit utilization, 30%. The second biggest factor, and the most immediately actionable one. This measures how much of your available revolving credit you're using at any given moment. If you have a $10,000 credit limit across all cards and a $3,000 balance, your utilization is 30%. Critical detail most people miss. Utilization is calculated both overall and across all cards combined, and per individual card. You can have 10% overall utilization, but if one specific card is at 90% utilization, that individual card is still dragging your score. Length of credit history, 15%. 3 things factor in here: the age of your oldest account, the age of your newest account, and the average age of all accounts. Older is better. This is the factor that rewards patience and punishes account closures. Credit mix, 10%. Do you have different types of credit? Revolving accounts, credit cards, lines of credit, and installment accounts, car loans, student loans, mortgages are the 2 main categories. Having both types demonstrates you can manage different credit products responsibly. This factor is relatively small at 10%, but it becomes relevant when you pay off your only installment loan, as we'll discuss in a moment. New credit, 10%. Every time you apply for new credit, a hard inquiry appears on your report. Each hard inquiry typically drops your score 5 to 10 points temporarily. Multiple applications in a short period signals financial distress to scoring models. Now, look at those first 2 factors. Payment history and credit utilization together make up 65% of your total score. This is the key insight. When you're paying off debt, you're directly improving both of these simultaneously. More on-time payments build the 35%. Lower balances improve the 30%. Everything else, mix, length, new credit, is secondary noise compared to these 2 drivers. Here's something that confuses millions of people, and I want to address it directly. When you check your credit score on Credit Karma, you're seeing your VantageScore. When a mortgage lender pulls your credit, they're almost certainly using your FICO score. These are different models that produce different numbers. How different? Usually 20 to 50 points different for the same person on the same day, sometimes more. VantageScore and FICO weight the 5 factors slightly differently. VantageScore, for example, places more weight on total balances and recent credit behavior. FICO 8, the most widely used version, weights utilization differently than FICO 9. What this means practically, don't panic if Credit Karma shows a different number than your bank's credit monitoring. They're measuring slightly different things. When preparing for a major loan application, check your actual FICO score. Experian's website and myfico.com offer actual FICO scores, though there may be a small fee. This is worth it before a mortgage application. For ongoing monitoring during debt payoff, Credit Karma's free VantageScore is fine. It moves in the same direction as your FICO score even if the absolute number differs. Okay, now the core question, why does paying off debt sometimes cause your score to drop? There are 3 distinct mechanisms. Each one applies to a different type of payoff situation. I'm going to walk through all three with specific examples so you can identify which one applies to your situation. Reason 1. You paid off an installment loan and it was your only one. Here's the thing most people don't understand. Paying off a credit card balance almost always helps your score immediately because your utilization drops. But paying off an installment loan, a car loan, a personal loan, a student loan doesn't affect credit utilization at all. Installment loans are not part of that calculation. What they do affect is your credit mix, the 10% factor. If that loan was your only installment account and now it's closed, your mix just got less diverse. You now have only revolving accounts. How big is this drop? Typically 5 to 15 points. And here's the thing about this specific drop. It's almost always temporary. Within 2 to 3 months, as your remaining accounts age and your payment history continues to grow, the mix penalty is usually offset. The exception, if the installment loan was also your oldest account, then you're losing both credit mix diversity and significant credit history age simultaneously. In that case, the dip can be 15 to 25 points and takes longer to recover. Reason 2. Closing an old account shortened your credit history. This one trips people up the most, especially people who pay off a credit card and immediately close it out of satisfaction. When you pay off and close a credit card, especially one you've had for years, you're removing that account's age from your average credit history calculation. Let me show you the math on a real example. You have 3 accounts, a credit card from 2013, 12 years old, a car loan from 2021, 4 years old, a personal loan from 2023, 2 years old, average age, 6 years. You pay off the 2013 credit card and close it. Now you have car loan from 2021, the personal loan from 2023, new average age, 3 years, cut in half. That's a significant change to the 15% factor. Depending on your overall profile, this can cost you anywhere from 10 to 30 points. The solution? Keep the account open, pay it off. Cut up the card if you're worried about spending. Set up a single small recurring charge, a streaming subscription, a monthly utility, and auto-pay it. The account stays alive. The age keeps accumulating. Your score stays protected. Reason 3. Closing a card accidentally increased your utilization. This sounds backwards, but it happens more than you'd think. Say you have 2 credit cards. Card A, $8,000 limit, $0 balance. Card B, $3,000 limit, $2,400 balance. 80% utilized overall utilization. $2,400 out of $11,000 total equals 21.8%. Not terrible. Now you pay off card B completely, great, but then close it. Your total available credit just dropped from $11,000 to $8,000. Your balance is now only on card A, which is $0. So overall utilization is 0%. That's fine in this specific case. But now consider the reverse scenario. Same setup, but instead of closing card B, you close card A, the one with no balance. Now your only remaining card is card B with $2,400 out of a $3,000 limit. Utilization, 80%. Your score tanks. The lesson, never close your highest limit card, even if you don't use it, even if you don't like the bank. The available credit on that card is silently protecting your utilization ratio every single month. Now the good news, because while drops get attention, the gains from paying off debt are significantly more powerful than most people realize. Scenario 1, you pay off a credit card that was at high utilization. This is the highest impact single action you can take for your credit score. Let me show you the numbers. You have 1 credit card, $10,000 credit limit, $7,500 balance, 75% utilization. At 75% utilization, your score is being significantly penalized. Lenders interpret this as this person is using almost all their available credit. They're financially stretched. You pay it off completely. Balance goes to 0. Utilization, 0%. How much does your score jump? Research from FICO and published case studies shows starting score 580 to 620, potential jump of 40 to 80 points, starting score 650 to 700, potential jump of 20 to 50 points, starting score 700 to 750, potential jump of 15 to 30 points, starting score 750 plus, potential jump of 5 to 20 points. The lower your starting score, the more dramatic the improvement. That's because utilization was likely a larger percentage of what was dragging the score down. Fixing a 30% problem when your score is already excellent produces smaller gains than fixing the same 30% problem when your score was being strangled by it. And the timing is fast. Credit card balances are typically reported to the bureaus once per month, at the statement closing date. Within 30 to 45 days of your payoff, the new $0 balance shows up and your score adjusts. This is one of the fastest score improvements available. Scenario 2. You pay off an installment loan. As we covered, there may be a small temporary dip from reduced credit mix. But here's what most people don't know about the long-term picture. The on-time payment history from that loan stays on your credit report for 10 years after the account closes. Read that again. Paying off and closing a loan doesn't erase the history. It just stops adding new history. Every single on-time payment you made over the life of that loan continues to count toward your payment history factor for a full decade. This means the long-term picture after an installment loan payoff is positive. Based on everything we've covered, 5 rules to protect and grow your score during and after debt payoff. Rule 1. Never close an old credit card after paying it off. We covered the mechanics. The practical implementation. If you're worried about overspending on a paid-off card, remove it from your wallet, remove it from saved payment methods on Amazon and Apple Pay, and set up one small automatic monthly charge on it with autopay set to the full balance. The card stays active. Your utilization ratio stays protected. Rule 2. The real utilization target is under 10%, not under 30%. You've probably heard that keeping utilization under 30% is the goal. That's the minimum acceptable level, not the optimal level. Research from FICO and credit scoring analysts shows that scores climb meaningfully as utilization drops below 30% and climb again as it drops below 10%. Under 10% across all cards and individually is the sweet spot for maximum score optimization. Practical implication. As you pay down debt, your utilization naturally improves. But if you have a card you still use for regular spending, pay it off before the statement closing date, not just the due date. The balance on your statement close date is what gets reported to bureaus. Pay before close, not just before due. Rule 3. Freeze all new credit applications during your payoff journey. Every hard inquiry drops your score 5 to 10 points temporarily. More importantly, multiple recent inquiries signal to scoring models that you're in financial distress. The exception. Mortgage pre-qualification inquiries within a 14 to 45-day window are treated as a single inquiry by most scoring models, rate shopping protection. But for any individual card or loan application, one hard inquiry, one score drop. If you're not actively applying for major credit, no new applications until high-interest debt is cleared. Rule 4. Autopay for minimum payment on every account, no exceptions. One missed payment can drop your score 60 to 110 points depending on your current score and history. A single 30-day late payment on an otherwise perfect record can take 12 to 18 months to fully recover from. Rule 5. Pull and dispute errors on your full credit report every year. This is the most underutilized score improvement tool available, and it costs nothing. Common errors, accounts that don't belong to you, identity theft or a data entry error at the bureau, incorrect balances, showing a higher balance than you actually owe, duplicate accounts, the same debt listed twice, late payments that weren't actually late, servicer reporting error, debts that should have fallen off after 7 years still appearing. How to dispute? Go to annualcreditreport.com, the official free site, no credit card required. Pull reports from all 3 bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. Each has a dispute process online and by mail. Bureaus are legally required to investigate disputes within 30 days. If they can't verify the information, it must be removed. Correcting even one error can add 20 to 50 points to your score with zero additional financial effort. I want to spend the final section of this video on something that doesn't get said enough. The credit score is a tool. It's a useful number for getting favorable rates on mortgages, car loans, and other credit products. It matters. I'm not going to pretend it doesn't, but it is not the goal. And managing your debt payoff around your credit score, making decisions designed to protect the number rather than eliminate the debt, is a mistake that costs you real money. If you want to track your score for free without a hard inquiry, Credit Karma and Experian both offer free monitoring. Links are in the description. Use them for monitoring, not for obsessing. Next week, the emergency fund video, how much you actually need when you're still in debt, and whether the math supports pausing debt payments to build one first. That's a question that genuinely divides financial advisors, and I'm going to show you the actual numbers. If you missed the first 3 videos in this series, the full debt payoff system, the snowball versus avalanche comparison, and the zero-based budget walkthrough, they're all linked below. See you next week.